You know, when an empire starts to crumble, when its center can't hold, chaos just rushes right in to fill the void. Today, we're diving headfirst into Chapter 3 of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and this is a story where the fate of an entire dynasty isn't decided on some grand battlefield. No, it's decided in the shadowy halls of a palace and inside the heart of a single warrior. This is a story about fatal arrogance, pure, naked ambition, and the absolutely devastating price of betrayal.
A fine bird chooses a tree to nest in. A wise minister chooses a lord to serve. Remember that quote. It sounds like wisdom, right? But what if it's just a beautiful-sounding excuse? This one phrase, it becomes the justification for a decision that will plunge the entire Han Dynasty into darkness. It really makes you ask, where is the line between ambition and treason? Between looking out for yourself and actual honor? Keep this in the back of your mind, because we're going to see it get weaponized.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the capital, Luoyang. The emperor is dead, and his young son, just a boy, has taken the throne. But a child emperor isn't really a ruler, is he? He's a symbol. He's a prize to be fought over. And right there, in the heart of the empire, a storm is brewing. We've got 3 different factions circling each other, just waiting for the right moment to strike.
And if you look at who's involved, you can just feel how fragile this whole situation is. On one side, you've got the palace eunuchs, the so-called 10 attendants. These guys have been running the court for years through secrets and whispers. Standing against them, the Grand Marshal He Jin. He's the empress's brother, a former butcher who climbed all the way to the top. He commands the army, and he wants the eunuchs gone, period. And then you've got the third group, just watching from the sidelines, these ambitious warlords like Dong Zhuo, who are just praying for an invitation to march their armies right into the capital.
Now here's the thing about He Jin. He's got the muscle, but he completely lacks foresight. His aide, a sharp, brilliant young officer named Cao Cao, he sees the danger clear as day. He tells him, look, to deal with the eunuchs, all you need is a single jailer, not a whole army. Bringing outside warlords into the capital, that's like setting your own house on fire just to smoke out a few rats. But He Jin, he's blinded by his own arrogance. He just waves off the warning. He thinks his power is absolute.
And you guessed it, He Jin's arrogance leads directly to this complete disaster. His plan gets leaked. The eunuchs, now desperate, they set a trap. They use the empress herself to summon him into the inner palace, alone. And against all advice, He Jin just walks right in. He's ambushed, he's cut to pieces, and his head is literally thrown over the wall. So, what do his generals do? They storm the palace in a blind rage, they kill every eunuch they can get their hands on, and they set the whole place on fire. Luoyang just explodes into a night of blood and chaos.
And who shows up at the gates of this burning city? Dong Zhuo. Remember him? He wasn't invited to be a savior, he was invited to be a weapon, a threat. But now he arrives to find the city in flames, the government in shambles, and the young emperor and his little brother lost, hiding out in the wilderness. The power vacuum that He Jin's arrogance created is now just sitting there, wide open for the taking.
So Dong Zhuo finds the 2 royal brothers, and the difference between them is just wow. The young Emperor Shao is so terrified he can't even get a word out, but his younger brother, the Prince of Chenliu, he stands there perfectly calm. He actually questions Dong Zhuo, demanding to know who he is and what he's doing there. And in that one moment, Dong Zhuo sees it all. He sees the weak emperor he can easily get rid of, and the smart, composed little boy he can install as his own personal puppet.
With his army now inside the city walls, Dong Zhuo wastes absolutely no time. He holds a big banquet for all the court officials, and he just drops the bombshell. He's going to depose the emperor. He pulls a sword, slams it on the table, and basically says, "Those who obey me shall live, those who defy me shall die." This isn't a suggestion, it's a threat, and the entire court is just frozen in fear.
Well, almost everyone. One man, a governor named Ding Yuan, stands up and calls Dong Zhuo a traitor to his face. Dong Zhuo is about to kill him right there, but he freezes, because standing behind Ding Yuan is this absolute unit of a warrior, radiating pure power, holding a massive halberd. This, my friends, is Lu Bu, the greatest warrior in the land, and Dong Zhuo knows he can't win that fight.
The next day, Dong Zhuo tries his luck in battle and gets completely humiliated by Lu Bu. He becomes obsessed. He says, if I could just get that man on my side, I wouldn't have a single worry about the empire. He knows he can't win by force, so he's going to win with temptation. He's going to find Lu Bu's price, because every man has one.
And this is where we get to the core of Lu Bu's fatal flaw. His skill with a weapon? Unmatched. Nobody better. But his character? It's weak. The book describes him as, quote, brave but witless, valuing profit over righteousness. Dong Zhuo's advisor, a man named Li Su, who actually knows Lu Bu, understands this perfectly. He knows exactly which strings to pull. The first piece of the bribe is a treasure beyond anything a warrior could dream of. The legendary steed, Red Hare. This isn't just a horse, it's a magnificent beast, like a fiery dragon from the heavens, a horse that can gallop 1,000 leagues in a single day. For a warrior like Lu Bu, this is basically irresistible.
But Li Su doesn't stop with the horse. Oh no. He shows up with a mountain of treasure. 1,000 taels of gold, dozens of shimmering pearls, a belt made of precious jade, and maybe most importantly, he offers Lu Bu the one thing he really craves: recognition, power, and a future much, much bigger than just being a bodyguard for some minor governor.
But you know, all that treasure, that's just stuff. The real poison is what Li Su whispers in his ear. He hits him with that old saying, a fine bird chooses a tree to nest in, basically arguing that Lu Bu's loyalty to Ding Yuan isn't honor, it's a cage. He tells Lu Bu that a man with his godlike talent deserves a lord who can give him the world. He plays on his ego, his greed, and his ambition, all at the same time.
And Lu Bu, he makes his choice. With that one single decision, the entire balance of power in the empire just shatters. The betrayal is it's swift and it is absolute. That very night, Lu Bu walks into his adoptive father's tent. Ding Yuan asks him what's wrong, and Lu Bu just says, "I am a great man, why should I be your son?" and then cuts off his head. The next morning, he walks up to Dong Zhuo, presents the head as an entry gift, kneels down, and calls the tyrant his new father.
And just like that, it's over. With the Empire's most terrifying warrior now acting as his personal enforcer, his adopted son, all opposition just vanishes. Who's going to speak out against Dong Zhuo now? Nobody. He holds all the cards, all the military power, and the court is his to command.
Dong Zhuo's reign of terror starts immediately. He makes the court depose the emperor. He has the young boy and his mother murdered. Anybody who even thinks about objecting is publicly executed. His soldiers run wild, looting and terrorizing the capital. The chaos that Cao Cao warned about, it's here. Brought on by one man's arrogance and unleashed by another man's betrayal. So we end right back where we started. Lu Bu got his horse, he got his gold, he got his fancy new title. He chose his fine new tree to nest in. But what was the real price of that power? That's the question that this chapter leaves just echoing in the ruins of the capital. Was it really worth it?